The French Ridge Hut is a distance of 17 kilometers and is accessed through the West Matukituki track, which starts about an hour outside Wanaka at the Raspberry Flat Car Park. This car park does allow camping for fully contained vehicles. So let's start trekking. Your adventure will begin walking 9 kilometers through the valley floor, where you will encounter stream crossings, bridges, endless tussock fields, and, well, more stream crossings. There are a few trails that diverge, so just remember to make sure you are following the orange markers, like this one. Once you hit Aspiring Hut, you will have to pay 25 NZD per person to the ranger in an adjacent hut to reserve a bed in the French Ridge Hut. They take cash or card. After Aspiring Hut, you will head into some much needed tree cover, but then soon enough will be fully exposed again. Shortly after, you will reach Pearl Flats, which is where you will divert from the West Matukituki Valley track. It's at this point where you can either cross the river by foot or walk upstream to a bridge. We chose the river. That water is painfully cold.
It's really like
It was painfully cold. Immediately after, you will come upon a steep path made of tree roots and loose rock. These pitches will have you on all fours at times, testing your hand and foot placement. Scaling these obstacles will require heaps of energy, but don't worry, the beauty of hitting the tree line will make it all worthwhile. Beyond the trees is your last stretch. Tussocks fields galore and steep ridge lines for all those photographers out there. This last pitch does have a few false summits, but soon enough you'll see the roof of the hut. Alright, so now that you have a little bit of information on the French Ridge Hut, and hopefully you're stoked from the visuals to even go on this trip in the first place, I have a few tips for you. So first thing that you need to think about is your fitness level. This hike takes you through very exposed areas and then into a very steep incline where you're pretty much going to be on all fours and doing a little bit of bouldering. Not insane, but still enough to get your heart rate up. And if you have excess weight on you, it will be a little bit of a struggle. So another thing you're going to need to check is weather. It takes about an hour to get there on a backcountry gravel road. So you're going to need to make sure that the weather has been good enough to be passable by any car. If the weather is bad, that means the streams that you cross are going to be a little bit higher and you may need a four-wheel drive to get across them. And the last couple things that you need to know is pretty much your gear and what you're taking. Obviously, it's important to pack light, but if you want to bring a stove and bring your cooking stuff and you are an experienced backpacker and you're used to carrying that weight, go for it. We actually decided just to bring dry food because it was just one night and we knew we could just get over not eating a hot meal at night. So we just brought some dry food to get through the hike and we did fine. Another important thing is your boots. Yeah, this trek is a little bit more rugged, so having maybe some ankle support would be nice, but it's not necessary. But don't bring trail runners, just bring proper, good, solid hiking boots for this one. Oh, and lastly, the sleeping bag. Make sure that you got your sleeping bag, because otherwise you'll just be sleeping in nothing. All right, so that was the tips for before the hike. Now I have tips for while you're on the hike. So while you're on this hike, there's numerous stream crossings. However, there's one that is the largest one that you can either detour if you hike 1 kilometer more and you can hit this bridge that goes over, or you can take off those shoes, get in that water and cross. But the tip is there is a sign where it says to cross the river. Make sure you cross the river at that sign because that's going to actually be the most shallowest point and the water is just not as swift there. So how I know this is I kind of explored a bit just to check and it is true. And you definitely do not want to be in that water very long because it is ice cold. Also, as I mentioned, you are fully exposed for probably 70% of this trip. So make sure that you bring suntan lotion, or you actually have some clothing that is super light and breathable and covers your skin. That would actually, I would recommend that over sunscreen. Just get some nice proper hiking clothes that is thin, breathable, and covers your skin. And as you guys may know, New Zealand's ozone layer kind of non-existent. So you will burn. My parents are Mexican, and so when I arrived here in New Zealand, I thought I could handle it. No, I burned so bad. And it was just that I was that cocky guy that was just like, yeah, I won't burn. And I totally burned. And because it's exposed, you're going to need a lot more water. So there are a few points along the way that you can get this water, but not until about 10 kilometers when you reach the first hut. After that, it's about another 7 kilometers unless you want to refill in the glacier waters. But I would definitely recommend not filling up anywhere before Aspiring Hut, as there's lots of cattle and you don't want to be drinking out of that water. You probably want to drink the water coming off the mountain, or as close as you can get from the mountain. And speaking of those last 7 kilometers, or actually probably the last 5 kilometers, when you hit that edge of the mountain and you're just going up, holy crap, that is super difficult. You're going to be on all fours. You're going to be bouldering a little bit. You're going to have to think where to put your feet, where to put your hands, and you're going to have to use upper body strength to get you up. So don't eat up your energy. Don't gung-ho it. Pick a pace, keep the pace, mentally prepare yourself and be strong in your head. Your body will say no. You just have to keep positive and keep telling yourself to move. And the final hour is the most glorious hour. Although you do get a little bit of endless horizon where you just keep thinking, just over this ridge. And then you'll get false summits, right? So you'll think it's the top. Yeah, but the last hour, trust me, it is beautiful. You're on this ridge line, golden, beautiful, I believe it's called Terex. It kind of looks like wheatgrass blowing in the wind. It is absolutely amazing. And then you'll just see that beautiful red hut right in the distance, and boom, you're there. All right, so once you're there, there's a few things you should know of what this hut provides and what it doesn't, what you should probably bring for the hut. All huts kind of vary, we've noticed. Some have stoves, some don't. Some have teepee, some don't. So this one is a fairly basic one. So make sure you bring your teepee, make sure you bring some antibacterial soap. There are no stovetops, so you'll need to bring your food and how to cook your food. But at the same time, remember, all those things add weight, so be choosy. What I see a lot of times with people going on these trips is they're packing way too much just for one overnight. So don't go full on outdoor adventure camper mode. Just bring what you need, not what you see on TV maybe. Last little bit of info on this hut. There are about 20 bunks. There is a bathroom, and probably the most beautiful view from a shitter you'll ever see. Another thing to know about this hut is that there are 20 bunks, thick mattresses, a nice kitchen, a place you can wash your dishes, and a nice little porch area to watch the sunset. Thanks guys for watching. I hope you got a lot of information out of this video and that you yourself are going to crush French Ridge Hut. And if you don't feel quite comfortable yet, hit me up down below in the comments. I will answer every single one. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.